Hello. I'm like a smidge early, but better early than late. Isn't that wacky? Hey, y'all, everybody. Good morning. Hey, Beth here from Destination Decluttered. I'm about to cough, excuse me. These are the first words I've spoken today out loud. Actually, no, I chatted with my husband before I went on my morning walk. But anyhow, let's hit the ground running, huh? I am here for you this morning for an entire hour. Whatever hour it may be, it's 8 a.m. Eastern because I'm outside of Philadelphia, PA. But whatever time it is, it's time for you. It's time for timer. Do you struggle with clutter? Is your life not looking and feeling like you want it to? I can help you. If I can help you, I will help you. That's my main MO. And that's why I do this. I am, I'm just centering my little map pins because I am a decluttering life coach. And what that means is we don't just make your house look pretty. It looks like Pinterest. It looks like Pottery Barn. Sure, you get that, right? But it's like it looks good and it feels good and you feel good when you're in it. Because instead of just working on the exterior, during the process that I teach of how to declutter your home, and I say the right way, but I basically mean the right way because when you learn how to declutter your home and you learn how to not reclutter it, you not only get decluttered, you get the stuff that's been, piling up over years, but you learn to think and feel and do a different way so that you don't get cluttered again. That it doesn't pile up and then you knock it down and it piles up. Anybody ever been there? Oh my gosh, yeah, you're like, this time it's really going to stick. But you know what? Here's the funny thing. If you don't change your habits, and habits are easy. I mean, habits are kind of cool. They make you do things that, I don't know, you're not too excited to do, but it helps you. So I am here to help you. I'm here for the next hour. If you have questions about clutter and stuff, put them in the comments. If you'd like to be getting a free habit tracker, here's mine right here. I admit I have been so busy traveling, I've kind of slacked on the tracking, but it works. When you pay attention to stuff, there's apps out there that you can buy that help you track stuff. This is a piece of paper you can print out and track your good habits. Get that by signing up on the Destination Decluttered mailing list. You go to my website, destinationdecluttered.com. There's a place called Join. Just put your email in there and automatically, and I'll make sure it works. Yep. Automatically, you'll get this decluttering habit tracker and the plain one that you can track all your other habits with free. It just is attached to your welcome email. You also get, I have started to do these monthly Zoom calls with people on my mailing list. So I'm just kind of chattering right here while I wait for questions to come in. But I want to say the most important thing is, and I just heard this from a client yesterday. She and I had our last of 10 sessions. I do one-on-one coaching with people from all across the country, looking at my map right now. And I do 10-week sessions one-on-one on Zoom. You and me, babe. You and me. Just how cool would it be to have, I've got a coach. I've got somebody, if I feel stuck, I can call somebody. I get on a call with her and we get unstuck. And the one thing I want to share with you that my client said as she was signing off, she said, you know what? I want people to know if they are stuck, if they feel stuck, and if they feel like they've been this way for years and they think nothing can change. She said, I just want them to know that things can change with coaching. She was like, it was so funny. I know she wouldn't mind sharing the story, but I'll be vague about it. She and I signed up for a 10-week coaching package because that's what I do. I do 10 weeks. And she was hopeful that she would get this one room in her house done at the end of the 10 weeks. Well, the great thing is not only did she get that one room done in the first 2 or 3 weeks, but then the skills she learned and the motivation she had for seeing how great that room looked on, we went out, she did the hallway, the basement, the kitchen. Even now, she knows how to declutter and stay decluttered even after we're not coaching. So I just want to offer to you, as I'm waiting for questions to come in, please like my page on TikTok. I do videos all the time about decluttering and motivating, inspiring, and just having some fun with it. This is how I coach. So if you want like a fun kind of road trippy coach, that's me. If you have questions right now, pop them in the comments. I can answer them for you. And just remember that the question you have may not just be one you have, but somebody else who's following here could have the same question, but they're a little bit too shy to put it in there. So I think that's about it as far as like intro stuff. Excuse me, I'm gonna drink some tea. LaLuke6803 says TikTok is really talking to me. That's why they took TikTok. Sorry, I have a Boston accent sometimes from when I grew up. But you know what? Here's the thing. Yeah, maybe this, I don't want to say this came across your feed for a reason. I don't know. But what I will offer is I know that I take inspiration from so many places. And if something comes across my path, I'm saying, what's in it for me? What could I use that for? You know? Oh, quick question. What do I do with credit card offers? I have many grocery bags full. Little black spaniel. I will tell you what I recommend, and hopefully this will help, is do a quick Google search of your area, your town, your county, however your state is divvied up. And what I have discovered that has been life-changing for me personally and for my clients is many places will have what they call like a shredding event. Right? So some people have said that their banks do it, you know, for safety. I think it's a insurance company down the street from us does once or twice a year. And instead of spending your days, unless you have a routine, if you have a routine that it takes you like 2 seconds to shred your stuff, keep up with that. But if you don't, what I say is do exactly what you did. If you have many bags full of those, look for a shredding event in your area and bring all those credit card offers to that, and they shred it right in front of you. They got at least the ones I've been to, they have like a camera on the side of the truck, and it's so much easier. Yeah. And I want to offer that to everybody. Okay, practical advice. I'm all about the practical. I talk a lot about life coaching and getting in the right mindset, but my mindset is basically if you think crappy thoughts, you feel crappy, you do crappy. But if you think better, you feel better, you do better. And thinking crappy keeps you stuck. Thinking better makes you motivate. So I want to give you practical tips to motivate yourself. And one of them is with your mail. If you have mail that you fear that somebody may, you know, steal your identity and you don't want to put it in the trash, instead of spending a lot of time shredding it daily, do exactly what Black Spaniel did and put it in a bag and wait for one of these events. You know, Sarah, thank you very much. Sarah is offering 8885 opt-out to prevent credit card offer mailings. So that's the other thing too. Sarah, rock on. Thank you for that. Because it's not just about decluttering and kind of keeping everything at bay. It's about turning off the faucet, right? And it takes 2 seconds. I've done this with my email. And just, you know, every time I get something that I don't want, I go see where I can unsubscribe. They are legally bound to have an unsubscribe thing in the footer of your email. So it may be hidden, it may be grayed out. What you can do is hit like Control F and check for unsubscribe and do that, okay? Like seriously. So I'm glad you like the mantra because this is where it happens. And yes, thank you. I just love doing these lives because it's not about me at all, actually, which I love. I love it when it's not about me. Spotlight, no thank you. It's about you and what are you struggling with and how can I help you? But also it shows the best of our people, the community. It's like, hey, I've got something that can help you. Like Sarah knew 8885. I'm going to write that one down. And, you know, it's like everybody's helping themselves. 5 opt out. Maybe I'll do a video on them. But it's so cool. Okay, so this is the thing. We can all help. And then, you know, Ahin190 said, thank you for sharing. A rising tide floats all boats. If I help you, you help me. I showed up. Because I showed up, and somebody dared to ask a question, somebody answered it, it helped somebody else. Isn't that kind of cool? I just love that stuff. All right, Jill, and pardon me, I have glasses on, so sometimes it's hard to read. Jilly B is saying, I'm getting kind of desperate. Need to downsize by half by end of summer. Okay, so what I want to offer is that desperation. Okay, much like I said, my mantra, if for those of you who've just met me, here are a few things that I will always refer to. So I refer to your life as a road trip and you're in the driver's seat of a car. And the reason I mention that right now, especially with Jilly B, is that the word desperate, I can feel that kind of frantic feeling. That's not such a good feeling. I need to get it. I'm kind of desperate. And when you're desperate, you kind of get like you're not in the best frame of mind to make a organized plan for your road trip, or excuse me, for your road trip, yeah, or for your decluttering. But what I want to offer is that is what I call a backseat driver thought. That is a thought from the back seat that is little kids saying, get frantic, do something, freak out. And what I want to offer is you also have co-pilot. So I am your co-pilot on the road trip of your life, even though you're the one in the driver's side. And I want to say, get clear on what you want to have with you. What is the reason you're like, why do you need to declutter by half? And here's the thing I love about decluttering that I want to share with you all is decluttering is really a good way to get to know yourself again, or maybe for the first time, or know who you are now and who you want to be. So think about the things that you no longer want. That's okay. We all grow out of stuff. Just because we're not little kids anymore doesn't mean we're not growing out of things. So if you have things that you've grown out of your life, you can feel like if I get rid of I keep on trying to find a better way to say this, but if I pass along the items that no longer serve me, that no longer do it for me, all I'm left with is the things that light me up, that make me feel good, that don't take up as much room. Okay, so that's why I call my coaching Destination Decluttered. Notice that I'm pointing to this little heart-shaped thing here because you're here, you need to be half done, but what's a way that you can do it to make yourself feel good? How can this be a wonderful opportunity for you to literally discard what no longer works for you and only be left with the good stuff? Okay, so think of that mindset, and because when you think of it better, doesn't that make you feel better? Because I could have a decluttered life in just the summer. And maybe this thing that's happening that's making me do it is the perfect kick in the pants motivation to just get me up and running, right? Because when you think better, you feel better, you do better. And that's what gets you moving, okay? Small place with way too much stuff. Great thing. The neat thing about clutter I want to share with everybody is think about it as an abundance problem. You have too much. Too much. It's not like you don't have enough. It's not like you're coming from lack. You have too much. Okay. Feeling totally stuck is I feel totally stuck. Notice you feel overwhelmed, think overwhelmed, not feel so great, you stay stuck. Think a better thought, feel a better feeling, it'll get you going again. And I say it very quickly and kind of not offhandedly, and I don't want to say that what do I want to say? It's easy. It's not as difficult as you think. It's practice. If you've been thinking unhelpful thoughts for decades, it may seem weird to think a helpful thought, but if you get into it like practice, it's almost like learning a new language. And it's a really good language because, oh my gosh, I can tell you probably how much it makes a difference to just decide I'm going to think a better thought than that. Okay. What else do we have? For the neurodivergent, how does one best stay organized while still wanting to see our stuff? Good question. So what I want to offer is, coming from a neurodivergent family, depends on what the stuff is that you want to see. Now, I know that there's that kind of saying of out of sight, out of mind in the ADHD community. And while that's true for some things, I want to say that put the things in front of you that you want to see that bring you delight, but maybe what you do is you put them in a small area. So instead of having them spread out, you put them in one area. I just did a video, my sister, who is, we are from a neurodivergent family, and she had all these little tchotchkes, these little, I'm looking at my own stuff, like little, here we go, like little things like this, and this one I wouldn't put in a jar because she's ceramic, but what I want to offer is you can collect them all in one area so you can see them right there. Don't have them spread around. If you concentrate them in one area, you can have fun looking at them, but then you also give your eye a bit of a place to rest, so gathering them all up together. Also, the one thing I have found is we often will put things in front of us to remind ourselves to do something. The thing is like a reminder to do something, but if it stays there too long, it becomes invisible. So just be careful of that. And if you haven't done the thing, do the thing. And if you find that putting stuff in front of you works and then you do the thing and you remove it, that's great. But if it doesn't, find a different way to motivate yourself to do stuff and put your things away. They will not go away. You know that in your, not everything in your home is in sight, in mind. So you can train yourself to know where you put stuff. Put stuff in a place that makes sense to you, repeat putting it back there, and then you will just train your brain. You will create a new neural pathway that says, hey, this is where I put, the pens or whatever. Okay, what else do we have here? Pace Car Girl 01 says, I've been trying to unsubscribe and more keeps coming. Patience, my dear, patience. Keep on doing it. I will say that, yes, it feels like it's not working, but it is. It's probably like getting on a diet or changing your eating habits. It's never getting on a diet. Changing your eating habits and hoping everything's going to change immediately. No, slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race. I guess unless you're, race car driver. But anyhow, slow and steady is showing up every day. It's like a road trip. You don't drive from Pennsylvania to Palm Springs in one day because it takes 40 hours. Even 4 days, that's 10 hours. You're going to be exhausted. Do a little bit at a time, as much as you can, and you'll get there and it's going to feel good, okay? Donate, sell, recycle, all about that, my friends. I've been here since you started. I have 6 estates left to me, and I was so stuck. But I've helped you so much. Oh, you're welcome, Rhonda. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for letting me know that I'm helping, because this is the only reason I do this. I love it. I love helping you with your clutter because I have been there. I grew up in a cluttered household. I was a cluttered person myself. Here's the funny thing is I could make my house look good on the outside, and this is why I talk about this thinking better, feeling better, doing better. But I still was hung up on a lot of stuff, so I had stuff in my basement. I had stuff in closets. This room that I'm in now that is my delightful, bright, airy, fresh, kind of Palm Springs, fun-inspired office used to be the pitch and ditch room. It was my office in a corner, but anytime we had people over, we'd be cramming bags of trays and, just shove it in there, because that's how I grew up. I grew up make a pile of the stuff and get overwhelmed by it and then put the pile in a closet and then forget about it and then freak out. It's true. My sisters would tell you, my mother would tell you, that's how we were. But you can change. You can change. And it is such a cool thing to realize that if your life isn't how you want it to be right now, clutter-wise or otherwise, you can do something to change it. And I keep on having that Chuck Mangione song going through my head all week because I did a video last week about it, and I'm also Gen X, so I think in pop culture references. But it just feels so good when you change your life for the better. It just does. I hope you feel that. All right, who else do we have here? Yes, if things stay there too long, it's part of the, consider yourself part of the furniture, as they would say in Oliver. But here's a cool thing. I learned this from one of my ADHD clients. A couple of them is if you don't see the stuff in your house anymore, all you need to do is take your camera and take a picture of the place you're in, and you will see stuff you didn't see before. You can take a video, and if you look at your home through a lens of a video, or like you're seriously just looking at it differently, you're going to see things you never noticed. It's a trick of the brain, but use it. It works. I helped with your mindset. Yes, that's the best thing. It is one room at a time, one section of a room at a time. What's the smallest thing you can do to get you from stuck to unstuck today? I love it. Okay, what to do with paperwork and a bunch of question marks. How long do you recommend to keep? I have so much. Okay, so I would say this. Double check anything I tell you right now just by Googling it. But common knowledge is, or, they say, who's they? Tax paperwork, your tax things, your papers, whatever they are, and all the substantiating documentation, those get saved for 7 years, a 7-year window. After that, you can shred them. I would definitely want to shred those things. Anything else, ask yourself what it is and why. This is the thing. You get in touch with your brain. What is this thing and why am I saving this paperwork? The only reason I see to save paperwork, frankly, and I say paperwork like mundane, boring things. Like I'm not talking about sentimental stuff, but paperwork kind of falls into categories. And the only thing I see that's valuable saving is stuff that's going to substantiate if you're going to use them on your taxes, because you want to show that you can take that deduction, right? So that is the thing. If you claim the stuff on your taxes, do it. Maybe another thing you want to save is like the documentation to certain things that you have in your house, your dishwasher, your washing machine. Keep that stuff for as long as you keep the thing. But you should have like a folder with just those items in it. What else could you keep? Maybe like some documentation from like medical things, if it makes you feel good. Here's the thing. It's all up to you to what you keep, but question yourself why you keep it now. The one thing I want to offer is all of us live in a hybrid society where many of us of an age came from a time when you could only access information if you owned the physical piece of paper, because there was only a single paper, or if you needed to get a copy, it was a big pain in the butt. Right now, because of digital everything, there are typically the paper you get is a physical duplicate of something that's already existing electronically. So get curious to yourself why you're saving this stuff. And if you don't have a good answer, or maybe it was good back then, but it doesn't anymore, you can change it. I did that. I changed my habits. Now, I have a really simple habit that we use when we're doing stuff. So it takes me 2 seconds. I've already gotten it into the part of my brain that I don't have to think about it. That's the best place. That's why I love the repetition when I do coaching for the 10 weeks that I do coaching with people, is it gets people to think differently. Mindset is when you think differently, you do differently, and you practice the new thing, and that takes a while for your brain to go from, I have to remember to do this, to my brain just automatically does it. Okay? Hope that helps. Every drop in the bucket, every little bit. Thank you for the badges. Which room do I start with? You know what? Which room do you want to start with? It's your house. This is what I want to empower you with. I want to encourage. I want to empower you. It is your home. You know what rooms are bugging you and which ones are not. I don't want to say start with the hardest one first. Maybe start with the place. This is what I recommend. Maybe instead of start in one room and then just start with what I call surface clutter. So when I coach, I tell my clients about 3 different layers of clutter, and I'll share that with you too. Excuse me. It's surface clutter, stored clutter, and sentimental clutter. And I also use this in the road trip metaphor of here you are now and here's where you want to be, is start with the surface clutter and then go on to the stored, and then very end go with the sentimental. So what is surface clutter? Surface clutter is paperwork. It's all the stuff that kind of, piles up, gets, accumulates through the daily living in your life, in your home, and you maybe haven't put it where it's supposed to be. So start with that in any room, and you're going to see a noticeable difference. That will also help you just start going from stuck to unstuck, and it makes it easy. It's not very emotional. It's not very challenging mentally. You're thinking, where does this go? Let me put it there. Where does this go? Let me put it there. You're also practicing putting stuff away. Okay? So start of that. Eat Plants Be Happy says, if you struggle with getting rid of things, ask yourself, what is the worst thing that could happen? Well, the funny thing is, that's a really good idea. I have known people who can catastrophize like it is a creative project. But it is fun to think about. Yeah, like, if I get rid of this rice cooker and then suddenly I need to cook rice, what am I going to do? Right? I love that. Tracy says, having clean drawers and closets is symbolic of honesty for her. Dude, that's deep. I will say, I don't think, I'm going to make a little I don't know if I've gone through anybody's drawers except, but you know what? Whatever works for you, if you're being honest. Yeah, you know what? I mean, because the thing I love about it, like, for example, your clothing drawers, when you have said to yourself, I deserve only the best. I deserve only the best. You say to yourself, I am going to donate the clothing that I don't fit into, that it doesn't make me feel good. Maybe it's worn out and nobody else would wear it, so I'm going to, make it into rags or something. When you say, I only deserve the best and I am good with what I have, I don't need an overabundance. Also, is you can remove those things and you have room and space, and it's so much easier to find the stuff you do need. Okay? There you go. Okay, good morning from Florida. Hey, you're going through a declutter of your house. You've been at it for months, which, you know what? Rock on, because this stuff you did not get this way overnight, kind of like gaining weight. You will not get rid of it overnight, but oh my gosh, it takes a fraction of the time when your mindset is right, when you're thinking the right thoughts and feeling the right feelings and doing the things to create the actions that get you going to the result you want. That is when it happens. So the more you show up in this kind of positive encouraging, motivating mindset that gets you gets you to actually do some of the decluttering, you should be well along. So that's rock on. If you're doing the entire house, that's a big project. But you started and you're doing it and you haven't given up. So just think, you are closer now. This is what I tell myself a lot. I am closer now to my destination than I ever have been in my life. Okay. LaLuke 6803 just said, just helped clean out my mother-in-law's hoarder house. It's making me throw everything out. Yeah, here's the thing. All of us, we are all in the fabric of society and families, that we are not the only people struggling with clutter. And if you have parents, you have aging relatives that maybe nobody is there, they don't have kids, somebody's going to have to take care of their stuff when they pass, even if they don't want to deal with it now. It's their choice to not deal with it now. But what I want to say is, have a plan in place, not only for their stuff, but also look at how their hoarded clutter house makes them feel and say to yourself, how do I feel in my own house? How do I want to feel in my own house? Right? And do something about it. If your home doesn't make you feel good, if your home makes you feel like, overwhelmed, so much to do all the time. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. You can do something about it. You can feel better in your home, but you have to, in order for that to happen, action needs to take place. You can't just sit there. And thinking is good. Thinking and planning is good. But the only time thinking and planning is ever good is when it turns into a plan of action. And I say like aligned action because I like those alliterative things. But what I mean is that what you're doing is going to get you to where you want to go. If you want to get your whole entire house clean, stressing out over a little paper clip is going to spin out your energy. But if you start with the big stuff, you're going to see a sizable difference, Seriously need this. We have not needed anything from the basement boxes since we moved 1.5 years ago. Mrs. Rivera, that is a wonderful thing to realize. Yeah, and the neat thing is when you go down to your basement and you say, when you go through those boxes, because you can go through them, like clean out your basement. Get that stuff. If you haven't needed it in a year and a half, maybe think about this. Maybe there's somebody out there who could have used it could use it right now. And the sooner you donate that stuff, put it on a free table, share it with a neighbor, see if a friend wants it. You're helping somebody else with the stuff that you said even yourself you don't need. Okay? So that's a really cool thing. And keep that thought in your brain. That's the thing, is keeping the good thoughts, saying, I'm doing this because I know that we haven't needed any of this stuff in the past year and a half, right? And then saying, and knowing, this is the thing I want to say too, if your brain starts to offer you an unhelpful thought that's going to stop you from moving, if it says, but what if I need it someday? You can say, I'm going to believe I can borrow it. Because I'm not the only person in my neighborhood, in my friend group, in my family that probably has a lot of clutter and may have what I'm looking for. So if you decide to, donate all this stuff, if perhaps you need to use that thing and you don't have it anymore, I bet you can borrow it. Okay. A lot of papers can be taken if stored online. Yep. Then you need to be organized digitally. Yeah. You see, here's an interesting thing about myself. I will say this. I am so much more about the physical clutter. Because the neat thing is that there are many ways you can set up a system for yourself with your digital stuff to find your stuff in a hot minute. You know what I mean? Find a way that works for you to find your stuff. I know that I can put in some keywords. I have some folders. I have a way that works for me, but I know that my digital clutter, it does not seem as overwhelming and negatively impacting my life as my external clutter. So what I want to offer is when you work on the external physical clutter in your home and your life, you may feel better about your digital clutter. I love the fact that I've got such a ton of digital storage space that I can take tons of pictures. I'm not afraid I'm going to roll out, My husband's mom passed away. We cleaned her home, changed how I saved what I saved over 17 years. Yeah. And it doesn't have to take one of those life-changing things. What it has to take is just you deciding today to say to yourself, I am tired of my home looking and feeling like it is, and I am going to do something about it. It can be such a non-event to the world, but it can mean a lot to you to just say, I am worth living in a home that I live in. I am worth living in a home that I love. I deserve to feel good in my home. I deserve to be able to find my items easily. I deserve to be able to wear the clothes that I feel comfortable in, you know? Yep. It's so liberating being clutter-free and able to consistently maintain a clean house. Testify. Because I used to do the roller coaster. I used to do it where I'd be like, that's it, we're cleaning, and it's fine. And then you think it's all done, but then it piles up again, right? And then you have to knock it down again. It piles up again, knocks down, piles up. No, you know what I like in the metaphor, but also in the world, is more like that feeling of the merry-go-round. You know, it's like you live in your home. So things, the dishes pile up a little bit, and then you put them away, and then stuff goes up, and you do a little bit. It's none of this drastic, you got to block off an entire week or a weekend to clean out the garage. Sure, at the beginning you probably do because you're dealing with a backlog. But once you learn how to get decluttered from the backlog and you change your habits so you stay that way, you never have to waste your precious time of life spending big giant times of your weekends and your time off from work doing all this massive decluttering because you just aren't creating the clutter that you used to. Okay? I say that as like a cool thing. I have a client that she's like, I just want our family to go out on the weekends and be able to do fun stuff. I don't want us, change to the house, having to clean out the basement. So at one point you probably do need to, I will say this, I'm not going to minimize it. You will need to spend some time to work on the backlog. But then when you change the way you think and feel and do, you will do different things so the clutter doesn't build up. And then you really won't have to do that kind of thing again. My husband and I are like, I don't know. What else? What do you want to do this weekend? I don't know. We don't have, garage looks good. Basement's good. House is good. Let's go play, right? I donated the apple slicer 3 years ago, and someone just asked for it. They used a knife, and it's okay. Exactly. Say to yourself, if I didn't have this, what could I use? I was like that because I had a bunch of vintage chip and dip bowls. I collect like vintage items and stuff, and it was fun to collect them when I found them in the wild on at a garage sale or a thrift store, and then a friend gave me one, and then all this kind of stuff. And I realized I was getting paralyzed with which chip and dip to use. I had too many, and it wasn't a good feeling. And I said, well, what if I had none of these and I still had friends over? What would I do? I would grab like a bowl, a big bowl for the chips and a small bowl for the dip, and have a good time with my friends. So what I did was I have now cut down my amount of chip and dips. As a matter of fact, and this is kind of a fun time to mention it. So what is it? Oh, it's 8:30 already. So Beth, Destination Decluttered. If you want to get decluttered, if you're stuck and you want to get unstuck, follow me. Follow my TikTok page. Get on my mailing list. Get a free habit tracker. Be invited to the one-on-one Zoom that I do with not one-on-one Zoom. I do a group Zoom with people on my mailing list, and then I do one-on-one coaching. So if you would love in 10 weeks to see how much your life can change for the better, sign up for a consultation with me. I take on new clients all the time when I have the spaces, and I want to work with you so you can, if you're ready and eager to get going and you just don't know what to do, I can teach you. And the cool thing is you learn skills, you learn a different way of thinking and feeling and doing that you can ripple effect to all other areas of your life for the rest of your life. So if part of you is saying, and I'm going to address this, if part of you is saying, I don't want to pay for coaching, what I want to say is it's worth it. It's worth it because you are learning. It's pennies on the dollar for skills you will learn and have for the rest of your life. To me, it's almost like when you wanted to learn how to drive a car. You could listen to, you could watch videos on how to drive. You could, go to YouTube. You know how to drive. You could ask a friend who kind of knows how to drive, but they don't really know. They only know up to a certain amount. But when you get somebody who knows exactly what they're doing and the time spent is so concentrated on you, you're going to have skills that last a lifetime, that you go and practice it. You learn the skills, you practice it, you find out what works, what doesn't, you keep on practicing. And then by the time even 10 weeks is done, because I work with people for longer than 10 weeks. I do. 10, 20, 30. It's always a 10-week segment. But even after 10 weeks, people have been like revolutionized, and they will have those skills and different mindset, different ways of thinking about clutter, and not just about the clutter in your home, but the clutter in your life. And you will think more helpful thoughts to feel better, and then do better things, and then your life will be better. Okay? The whole reason I was even mentioning all this stuff, sorry, I got myself distracted, is I was talking about chip and dip bowls. So I have a few live things I'm doing. I'm in the Pennsylvania area, and I thought this was kind of fun. My sister from Massachusetts, she sells vintage stuff. She and I are going to be down in Havre de Grace, Maryland this Saturday at a wonderful thing called the Joe Retro Vintage Fest and Vintage and Pyrex Fest. So you may see me selling one of my vintage chip and dip bowls because I realized I don't need as much as I want, and I want to get it out there to somebody who really wants this really cool vintage chip and dip bowl. So if you happen to be in Havre de Grace, I will have a t-shirt that has my Destination Decluttered logo on it. I don't know, it's just Destination Decluttered. Come and say hi, all right? Ooh, a whole bunch of new messages. All right, here we go. What do we have here? Yep. Yeah, Sisyphean task from week to week. Yep, it is. But scanner suggestions for papers we need to keep. Here, I'm going to be honest. I'm not gonna personally suggest a scanner because I think if you need to keep the papers, keep the papers. Why make it so much more pain in the butt like by scanning the papers, right? What I want to say is put the papers themselves into a safe space, know where they are. I mean, you'll only have, like, how much is like, here's a couple of notebooks, you can either spend hours scanning and locating and whatever, or just get a folder, get a place to put them. You're only saving this amount of space in your home if you do all the scanning. I am a firm believer in, and this is how I coach, I don't want to make anything any more difficult or time consuming than it has to be, okay? I don't. I want to make it as simple as possible so it doesn't feel bad. So you show up every day, you do a little bit, you work on this stuff, you feel good doing it, you see the progress, you learn how to think differently, and then we create a system, especially with one-on-one coaching. What's a system that's going to take your specific situation and reduce the amount of time and effort it takes for you to get the result you want with your decluttering, okay? I'm sorry I don't have a scanner thing, but I'm not big on scanning stuff. I'm really not, except for maybe family photos. That could be a thing. Yeah, you know what? At the beginning of spending hours in the weekend to do decluttering, you are. I mean, here's the deal. Here's the thing about a little bit at a time. If you show up a little bit at a time, you will get there, but it may take a while. Like my example is it takes 40 hours to drive from where I am to Palm Springs, California. You can divide up that time. If I only show up for an hour a day, it's going to take me 40 days to do it. If I show up for 2 hours a day, suddenly it's only going to take me 20 days. If I show up for 4 hours a day, it'll take me 10 days. Do you notice that the more you show up to do the decluttering, the quicker you get to your destination? It's just like math. And what I want to offer is the thing that will make a difference so you won't have to spend hours every weekend is changing your mind. You have a change of heart, you have a change of mind, you have a change of heart, and you have a change of life, right? Instead of thinking this is a pain in the ass, I'll never get there, you go, ugh, and then you show up and it's a pain and you don't enjoy it and then you don't want to come back. If you say, every time I show up, I'm making progress. Oh, that feels good. I'm making progress. Then I show up and it's like, see, I'm making progress. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the sooner you show up and the more you show up, the sooner you get there. Don't do it like a breakneck, like white knuckling it, but show up so it feels good so you'll want to go back and do it the next day. It's like going to the gym. Have you ever done that where you say, I got to do this, and you do so much and you hurt yourself and then you don't go back for weeks? That's not sustainable. That's not good. Show up for a little bit, show up for a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and you'll all of a sudden get on a roll. There we go. All right, our oldest is out of the house. Is he really going to notice I throw his high school papers? Here, ask him. Get your kids, no matter how old they are, get your kids involved in the decluttering. And this is interesting because I say this as a coach from, looking at the lens of people with children. I don't have children. But I want to say, I know how it feels to have had somebody else make a decision to throw something away that I might have wanted. My mother did that. It's like, oh yeah, here's all this crap I bought at the Christmas tree shop, but I decided to throw away that one thing, like that clipping from the newspaper about your great-grandfather, but I got, So what I want to offer to everybody, if you have kids, if you are a kid, get people involved in the decluttering process. Ask them if they want it. And if they want it, especially if they live out of the house, give it to them and tell them to deal with it. You shouldn't be the only person to do this, okay? If they say they don't want it, trust them and get rid of it, because that person may not have been the one saving the papers. You may have saved the papers. And if you get the person involved in the decluttering, what I want to say is it could be a really cool moment for you to sit down and kind of go through this stuff. And then even if you're going through the stuff and it goes right into the recycle bin, you've had this moment of connection where you can tell stories about, this is the thing I saved and this is where I saved it. Well, this is what I remember about this thing, you know? Yes, thank you, Stronger for me, Silva Sista. Make a plan, the time, a good playlist of music, podcast, audiobook. You'll surprise yourself. Yes, it can be fun. Put on music, dance around. Notice, take before and after pictures. This is what I love. I recommend it to all my clients, is take pictures of before and then during and see the progress you're making, because your brain's going to forget how horrible it looked. Like, I know I have clients that like they are so used to things looking good now that they forget what a hot mess it was when we started, right? But make it fun and you'll want to show up more. That's why I show up as a coach like this. You know, I'm casual. I like to hang out. I make funny jokes. I'm there for you. My heart is with you 100%. I believe in you 100%. I know you can do this. But you have to do it. I can't do it. That's what the thing I actually love about coaching on Zoom is I am physically unable to do it for you. I cannot do it for you. You have to do it yourself. If you want the results, you're going to have to do it yourself. And the good thing is it means so much more and it's so much more valuable and you're going to feel so much better if you do it yourself. Now, I'm not saying don't get help, but making the decisions. Decluttering is a decision. Should I stay or should I go? Do I want this? Do I not want it? If I want it, where does it go? If I don't want it, how am I going to, release it in a way that feels good to me, right? And yes, scroll till I die. Yes, please save genealogical information. Yes, get a box, put family history in it, and put that there. Doesn't have to be every single snapshot that you took on your trip to Key West with your friends, but the stuff that you think 100 years from now that your family would want to see, pictures of parents, and label all that stuff too, It's not a pain anymore. So glad I'm in motion. Just seems like so much. Will I ever get it done? You will. You will do it. You know what? This is that nebulous part of the road trip. And even, it's funny, my husband started this new, like eating well app. And they talk about, like, you start and you're all enthusiastic and then there's kind of a dip and there's different parts of the road trip. And when I want to say Accelerate 268, this is Seller 268, is you are between your points. You are now far away from where you used to be, right? But you're not quite there yet. And it's just like driving across the country. If you want to get to, if you were in the Dust Bowl, right? You just got to believe in the future. You got to believe that what you're doing is working, and every day show up. And every day you do that, even when it feels like you're not making progress, that's when it's so important. Because in the middle, when it starts to get difficult and you feel like you're not making progress and you're getting frustrated, that's when so many people give up. They do. And what I want to say is you will get it done. It's just physical objects in a space. The more you do things and the more you remove them and the more you turn off the faucet so not more comes in, it will make a change, I've read to take photos of kids' schoolwork and put in a printed book, such as from Snapfish. You can do that. But what I want to offer is, and again, maybe I want to do other things with my time, is, who may be telling you to do that? That would be Snapfish, because they want you to buy their book. Do you want to spend all that time doing all that scanning? Or could you get a box? Here's a fun thing. So I don't know if I can move here. So see down there, see how I have a few of these like little thin boxes right there. One of those boxes, that's just stuff like legal papers and things like that. That's one of my ways that I save stuff. But one of those boxes right there, every year I start a new box for my memorabilia. And I put the date on it, or the year, 2023. And anytime I save anything that I think I want to save, I just pop it in that box. Now, my system has worked out that I want to use these as time capsules, so I want to wait till I'm like 80 years old to do it. It doesn't take up much space in my basement, and it's what I want to do. But maybe at the end of the year, you could save the kids' stuff that you want in a box, and then you and the kids sit down and decide together what they want to keep or not. What a better feeling that would be to do that than to go all through with this effort, and all of a sudden you've got this hard printed book that's like of the kids' stuff, and they were like, I don't want that anyway. I don't know where to put things away. You know what, Mel Jam? You get to decide. You do. It's your house. Embrace it. Put it wherever it makes sense to you, as long as it achieves the effect you want, that it doesn't clutter you up. Okay? I grew up in foster care and I moved a lot. Now getting rid of stuff is hard. I need help. Of course you do. Because you had no agency. You had no control over you. You maybe, if you were lucky, had a bag of stuff. So I get that. But you know what I want to say is, this is when you start to think about how you're thinking about these things and feeling and then doing. So when you're thinking something that is causing you to feel a certain way, saying getting rid of stuff is hard because I grew up in foster care. And that makes you feel a certain way, and then you hold on to stuff because you've said to yourself, getting rid of stuff is hard. And I want to offer to yourself, Puzzle 3Z, is to say to yourself, this is how I coach, is take a piece of paper, take a notebook, a workbook. I call it a workbook. It's really just a spiral bound notebook, because I say it's a workbook because it works. Take a piece of paper, fold it in half, write down that sentence. I grew up in foster care and I moved a lot. Now getting rid of stuff is hard, okay? And then you say to yourself, why is it hard? And then you write the answers, right? Get in touch with the thoughts behind your thoughts, because those are the things that are keeping you stuck and making it hard and saying you need help. This is the help you need, everybody. Examine what you think about your clutter. And is it keeping you stuck, or is it making you uncluttered? That right there, mic drop, that right there, this is the work. It has nothing to do in a way. The stuff that you do after you've made the decision and the thoughts in your hands is almost inconsequential. But getting in touch with, how do I think about my clutter? How does that make me feel? And with that thought and feeling, what do I do or not do? Because what you do gives you the results you have. So if you think a crappy thought, you feel a crappy feeling, you do something crappy, or basically you just get stuck, you don't do anything, you have a crappy result, you stay stuck. But if you say, how can I think a more helpful thought? Like a more helpful thought is, I'm no longer in foster care. Things used to be hard, but now I have enough and it's okay for me to let go of things. I feel safe. I'm in a safe environment. I can control I have control over what I keep and what I don't. More helpful thought makes you feel better, then maybe you can release a little bit. And this is why I call it decluttering life coaching. Because it's not just about the surface and from the hands out. It's all about what led up to what you did with your hands. Did you hang on to the thing, or were you able to move it away? And I've been there. I never made that connection until the last many years. But when I did, not only did it revolutionize how my house looks and feels, it revolutionizes how my entire freaking life looks and feels. And it is such... it is a skill and a gift and a way of going through life that I will have for literally the next 50 years, because I plan on living, I'm probably going to live to 100, And so when I say to people, you're worth the effort to do it right now, you are going to be investing in you for the next 50 years. And then if you do one-on-one coaching with me, the pittance that I charge for what you get is going to sound like, here, give me your money, because it just is so worth it, okay? I just want to offer that it is so worth it to invest in yourself. I have gotten more value out of things that I said, I'm worth spending the money to do this and learn this thing now, than trying to do it on my own. Everybody needs help. Good morning from California. Good morning, okay? Yep, this no longer defines me. There we go. All right. Puzzle 3Z, you got this, okay? Serious, you got this. Only keep what brings you joy, seriously, or is helpful. Like my spatula doesn't necessarily bring, oh my God, my spatula, but it sure is useful if I want to flip an egg. At this point, I want to throw it all away. And in reality, I don't have much, just a lot of paper clutter. Okay, paper clutter. Cool thing is that I've done a couple of videos on paper clutter. Also, this TikTok live that I'm doing, and I have to watch the time because I go right from here into a whole day of coaching clients. But I download these and upload them to the Destination Decluttered YouTube page. So if you missed the part where I talked about paper clutter, when this one is posted, you can go back and listen to that. The other thing I want to offer too is I have been told that people who listen to these TikTok lives put them on speakerphone or whatever. I'm on a couple of times more this week, tomorrow and I think Thursday, because then I go, my sister visits and I've got stuff going on. But what I want to offer is listening to this stuff as you declutter. Instead of just sitting there going, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I don't know. No. Be like, you know what? She makes sense. It gives me a feeling like I could do something. And then you can even just start. Start with your surface clutter. Start with the easy peasy, layer, the paperwork that you don't need. You can put in the recycle bin. Put the laundry away. Put the laundry in the washing machine. There's certain cycles of our lives or things in our home, and I'm thinking primarily it's like dishes, mail, and laundry that are never ever done. They're only just in a certain process. So do some of that while you're listening. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. And when you show up for yourself and you do the stuff, you get the results you want. It's easy that it's not as, okay, here we go. Okay, there we go. Please talk about what to do with paperwork and what to keep and what goes. All right, really quickly. Paperwork. Keep the stuff for your taxes. Other than that, why are you saving it? What is it that you're saving? Are you saving your credit card receipts? Why? Are you saving your credit card statements to prove that who are you proving that you paid your bill? Have a conversation with yourself. Scroll till I'm sorry, I can't read it. Scroll till I die. That's it. It's so funny. Have a conversation with yourself. Get all your paperwork together. This is what my video says as a video. Get all your paperwork and put it in organized piles of category. What is the category? Bills that I paid, bills that I need to pay, important looking papers that I think I should pay, I should save, but I'm probably never going to look at them, but just in case. Stuff that goes in the recycles. And then make a decision about why are you keeping it. It's really up to you because everybody's got a different level of clutter. Like I know I probably oversave some papers, but I have a system that takes me 2 seconds and it makes me feel secure to say, I guess, if I ever need to look for that, maybe it's there. But my paper thing is really just a portable Expando file and it works for me. Okay. That's awesome. So people are saying that they did books with archive apps and everything like that. Go to town. I don't want to discourage anybody from crafting or creating that stuff. What I want to just offer to everybody is if you're feeling that way, go for it. If that's how you want to spend your time, rock on. But if you don't want to spend your time doing that, I just want to offer that it's okay and you can spend your time doing other things. Putting away neatly is the issue. Interesting. I wonder what the difference is between putting it away and putting away neatly. I used to work in retail visual merchandising and management for decades. So fronting and facing, neaten things up, color coordinate things. There's certain ways to make it neat, you can do that. All right. What do we got here? What else do we have? I listen to the YouTube like a podcast. I love that too because as you notice, I don't change. The only thing I pretty much do is point to these. Here you are and you're stuck. And here you are today. What came beforehand is your backlog. Where do you want to go right now, right? Are some of your coaching tips slightly different for people that struggle with ADHD? Honestly, my Tammy life, I think all of my coaching tips are inspired by ADHD because I come from a neurodivergent family. Some, we're all on the spectrum of it. So I always have the ADHD brain in mind because I know that everybody's brain works differently. I am not neurotypical myself, and I embrace that. I love how my brain works, but I know that getting a system that works for me, that makes sense for me, may not make sense to anybody else, but it doesn't matter because it's my home, and when it works for me, I will make it work, Thank you. I'm glad you think my advice is valuable. I need one of them expanding file cabinets. Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine? No, it's really just, oh, thank you. So Jennifer says, I like those suitcases behind you. Here's a tip. Things are stored in those things. I've got cords for my, my phone, and my different cords are in one of them. So I know where to look for my cords. One of them has my postcard collection in it because I used to collect vintage postcards. Another one has my costume jewelry in it. Different things like that. Get creative with your storage. It doesn't all have to be from IKEA or, Pottery Barn, do the things that feel good to you. Make it fun. Okay. What else can I tell you? I've got about 3 minutes left and then I should probably head up. Okay. 3 minutes, 7 minutes. All I can suggest to you is really remember, this will be my closing, wrapping it up, because I would love to send you off in the day. I would love to send you off in the day with this mindset of Couple of pearls of wisdom from the pearl necklace of Destination Decluttered. One is, you're worth it. You deserve to live a life you love, and in a home that makes you feel good, in clothing that makes you feel good. So somebody says, I'll keep my sweaters, whatever. Only pick the clothes that look and feel good to you right now and in the future. Do away with, pass along the items that don't do it for you anymore. And I'm always going to encourage you to share, to donate, to sell. I say sell as the last one, but give away for free. Connect up those items that no longer do it for you, and know that there's somebody out there who might be looking for that exact thing, but they're never going to find it if it's in your basement or your garage, right? Like all these vintage things that I have right here, I only was able to get them because somebody put them at an antiques co-op or at a thrift store. Right? So the stuff that doesn't work for you may work for somebody else. So feel good about removing the items in your life that no longer work for you. Okay? All right. So Fat Girls Off-Road, what I would say, easy thing to do is sign up for my mailing list. You will get a habit tracker that you can print out for the rest of your life. It's free. No obligation. I also do a group Zoom coaching just with my clients that are on my, not even clients, they're pre-clients, really, people on my mailing list. Again, free if you're on my mailing list. Sign up at destinationdecluttered.com, and I will be announcing when the May one is, when I do the monthly email around May 1st. The other thing, too, is if you really want to hit the road running and you're just like, I got to get myself done, this is enough, pussyfooting around, let me just hit the ground. I do one-on-one coaching, paid one-on-one coaching. 10 weeks is the minimum we work for, an hour a week, on Zoom, you and me, just you and me. All we do is talk about you, what's jamming you up, how to get you from being stuck to moving along the road towards the life you love. Okay? Okay, so Transgrams, the festival at Havre de Grace is called, it's Joe Retro, J-O-R-E-T-R-O. She's got this wonderful shop in downtown Havre de Grace where she sells a lot of Pyrex and vintage stuff. It is on Saturday, not on Friday, just on Saturday. And it's literally, she blocks off a bunch of streets, and there's going to be people with pop-up tents selling vintage stuff. The other cool thing is I want to offer to everybody is if you have vintage stuff that you think, things that you think might be worth something that you're thinking of selling, look on Google. You might be surprised, or, eBay. See what your stuff is worth. Maybe you've got, that coveted nesting bowls of Pyrex that you don't want, but somebody else would charge like $500 for. Okay? Just saying. All right? So, you are worth it. When you think better thoughts, you feel better feelings, you do better things, and your life is better. When your life is stuck, if you're here and you're feeling stuck, before even just say, what am I thinking that's making me feel something that makes me not want to move forward? And how can I identify that thought and then translate it? Make another more helpful thought than this one that's going to make me feel better and encouraged, and I can do it. So a little bit at a time. Every little bit helps. Every time you show up, you're going to get stronger in decluttering, and you're worth it to live a life you love in a home that feels good to you, and a life. And when you learn how to declutter your home, this is what I will leave with. Is when you learn how to declutter your home, strategies, practical tips, things, everything I teach in my coaching and on these Zooms and TikTok's lives and Facebook's lives and all that is applicable to so many other areas of your life. It's not just like if you learn how to, fix a car, you can only fix a car. It's a mindset shift. It's a thinking different things to make you feel different things, to make you do different things. And when you learn how to do that, not only is decluttering so much easier, but your whole life is going to feel awesome. Okay? And you deserve to live a life that feels awesome. Okay? I'm signing off now. I'm on tomorrow. There's a pinned post somewhere on my TikTok page that says when I'm on tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm on all 4 of my channels. So if you know people who are stuck with clutter and they're not on TikTok, I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm on tomorrow and on Thursday. But seriously, just think about how you want your life to look and feel. What's your destination? And then what could you do today to get towards it? Even one little smidgy bit, okay? You got this. I will see you tomorrow. All right? Bye.